young things. They were out to enjoy their youth, the sunshine of the day and the delights of an alfresco party. To them, death was a foreign concept, something that wouldn't have to be considered for many decades yet. Besides, on a day such as this, what could possibly happen? One young woman, with a mane of silvery fair hair, patted the place beside her on a towel, and a young lad, who looked barely 18, hastened to join her. Jimmy was pretty sure the fishermen downstream wouldn't be best pleased by all the noise and frolicking about. Every self-respecting pike, chub, dace, roach and perch within a quarter mile must have heard them thumping about and skedaddled for quieter waters. One or two of the young men were quickly stripping down to their bathing trunks, obviously intent on cooling off in the water. He meandered on, smiling as one of the rather pretty girls shrieked as a lad scooped water over the side of the bank and splashed her. As he went past the group, however, he noticed a tall, freckled-faced man with a head of shockingly vibrant red hair, standing a little bit away and on the outskirts of the scene, watching with an expression of disdain on his face. This, and the fact that he looked to be in his mid-20s at least, and thus a few years older than the average student, made him look out of place. Jimmy was too intent on reaching the shade of some nearby trees to stop and pay any attention to the strangers and their doings. But as he walked on, he suddenly saw, up ahead, a plethora of disembodied heads floating along in what seemed to be the middle of the river. For a moment it brought him up short, but then, as they came better into sight, he realised they were just yet more revellers, arriving via 2 large punts. Punts, he noticed with a look of mixed alarm and amusement, that looked vastly overloaded and were lying very low in the water. Surely there shouldn't be that many of them crammed onto each craft. What was more, both of the lads who were standing on the rear platforms and wielding long punting sticks looked a little the worse for wear. And even as he watched, the punting youth on the lead boat called out some request to one of his passengers, who was sprawling dangerously close to the waterline. Thus admonished, the very slender youth, dressed casually in white slacks and shirt, and with a head of hair so fair it was almost white, reached obligingly underneath him and produced what looked suspiciously like an open bottle of champagne, which he handed up to his friend. The young man accepted it with a cry of triumph and casually stopped work to swig from it, tottering back a step. He would almost certainly have ended up in the river if someone else hadn't reached out just in time to grab his trouser leg and haul him back again. Naturally, this caused a load of heckling and good-hearted chaffing from the others, and Jimmy shook his head, not sure whether to laugh indulgently at the youthful shenanigans or to self-righteously wonder just what the world was coming to. He finally reached the welcome shade of a line of trees that skirted the village road and sat down on an old tree trunk. Tyke, glad to rest his old bones, gave a little grunt of satisfaction as he lay down at his master's feet in the cool, shaded grass. If some dogs actually did possess such a thing as an intuition for evil, or a sense of impending calamity, Tyke wasn't troubled by such a gift. And so, for about 10 minutes, the retired milkman and his little dog simply sat there, listening to the drone of bees and watching yellow brimstone and orange-tip butterflies flitting about the meadow. Then a quick glance at his watch told him that his wife would be getting his lunch on soon, so, with a small sigh, he got up and began the return journey. If he didn't miss his guess, it would be fish paste sandwiches and a slice of her Madeira cake, one of his favourites. As he retraced his route along the river towards the noisy and boisterous student party, he noticed a third punt was following a little way along behind him, but paid it little attention. Instead, he gave them all a wide berth, returning to the river only when he was